Ho, ho, ho. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into 15 Minutes with Fuzz. I am your host, Fuzz Martin. I hope you have your shopping done. I hope you are set to have a great holiday. And if the weather reports are correct, I hope you have plenty of eggs, milk, flour, beer for the impending snowpocalypse. And if you're listening to this in the future, and it's like June, well, this episode's coming out the week before Christmas in 2022, and they're predicting a whole bunch of snow. Okay, so that should make sense now. But if there is something that will always keep you warm, that's soup. Unless, of course, it's gazpacho. Today, I'm joined by Renee and David Paape of the Soup Korner in West Bend. If you've never been there, it's one of my favorite sandwich shops in West Bend. They've got great food, they've got a great story, and they've got some exciting news. And with that, here's 15 minutes on Soup Korner with Renee and David Paape on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Renee and David, thank you for joining me today on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. For those who don't know, where is Soup Korner's West Bend location?
Soup Korner is located in the north side of West Bend, about a block and a half south of Moraine Park.
What road is that?
Main Street.
Is that just Main Street? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get this out of the way first. Everybody wants to know this. Why is the Soup Korner not on a corner?
Well, when we were originally looking at the space, we didn't have a name picked out yet.
Okay.
And when we were in there looking around, trying to figure out how we would set up the dining room, we figured, well, cozy, quaint, and in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we came up with Soup Korner.
Love it. Perfect. It doesn't matter that it's not on a corner. It's what's inside that matters, and it's delicious. So you successfully opened a restaurant during what was probably the most challenging time for anybody to ever open a restaurant in the history of restaurants, perhaps. What made you decide to open Soup Korner when you did?
Well, we originally bought the building in September of 2019, and COVID hit and delayed us almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
It took about 7 months just to get our hood
Wow.
installed. And then once we got our hood installed in October, we opened the next month in November of 2020.
Soup Korner offers soups. I've had some, they're delicious, but your sandwiches are awesome. So what makes your sandwiches at Soup Korner different?
So we believe in whole foods.
Mhm.
We cook down our own meats. We do whole chicken, whole beef, and we shred it ourselves. We use pork and we shred it up ourselves, and that's what makes our sandwiches so much more unique.
Yeah, and you guys seem to have a menu that kind of rotates a bit too. Like you've got some staples, but you guys have different like sandwiches of the month and such,
Yeah.
right?
We try to incorporate like fun sandwiches during the time of year. Like we just did a Thanksgiving wrapped up, and it was a pretty good sandwich. Depending on what time of year it is, we just like to get more people in the door to experience the awesome foods that we offer.
Great. How did you come up with the menu that you have?
Well, my family and I went out west, and the only thing we could find we have 7 children, so the only thing we could find was tacos, subs, or pizza, or deep fried foods. Trying to find fast and healthy was a challenge.
Okay.
So it started from that.
You lead with soup. So is soup kind of that your thing? Is that?
I love soups.
Okay.
And with having so many kids, soups is an easy meal to make at home.
To make a lot of?
Yes.
David, what's your favorite thing on the menu?
Probably the pastrami slaw and bacon.
Okay, I have that all the time. Yep. So
That is actually the sandwich that he picked out to be put on the menu. So
Outstanding.
that's definitely David's sandwich.
And then Renee, what's your favorite thing on the menu?
I tried narrowing this down, and honestly, it's so hard to pick one thing because everything on there I eat.
Sure.
I focus more on gluten-free because I am celiac.
Okay.
So I was diagnosed this summer. So anything that I can eat that's gluten-free through the restaurant, that's mostly what I'll pick now. One of my favorites, the ooey gooey on a gluten-free bun with ham and the tomato basil soup is to die for.
There you go. So you do have a gluten-free menu and option if there are people.
Yes. Almost every sandwich could be gluten-free,
Okay.
minus like the gravy on a mushroom beef and Swiss. But you can get anything on a gluten-free bun. And then our soups are labeled. It'll have a gluten-free.
Okay.
And we also offer vegan options, vegetarian options, dairy-free options. We just try to hit all 4 of them points. So there's at least something for everybody.
What seems to be your customer's favorite item or items on the menu? What moves the most?
Our mushroom and garlic soup.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, that is our top seller
Oh, okay.
because it hits all 4 points of the gluten-free, dairy-free, vegetarian, vegan, and people are amazed by that soup because there's big chunks of mushrooms in it.
That sounds delicious, and it's as we're recording this, it's almost lunchtime. Are you guys still doing breakfast too?
Not at the West Bend location.
Okay.
We tried it out during the summer,
Mhm.
and we got a lot of feedback from the customers saying, with there only being 12 seats, people were coming in and there was no place to sit.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we discontinued it, but we're going to have it at the Hartford location.
Let's talk about that. News just came out that you're opening your second location. You said Hartford, but where in Hartford is the new Soup Korner going to be?
It's 1481 Sumner Street.
Okay.
The old George Webb's.
The old George Webb's.
Yes.
Outstanding. What made you decide to open in Hartford?
We recently just moved to Hartford.
Okay.
We bought a house in May and we renovated it, and we were able to move in about 2 months ago.
Sure.
Finally.
Great. First of all, is that on a corner?
Corner of the building.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
The building has corners. Good. How will that location be different from the West Bend location?
Oh, the Hartford location seats 50 people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's definitely an upgrade, and there's ample parking.
Mhm.
And at this location, we'll be able to do our breakfast as well.
Great. And is the new location going to affect anything with the West Bend location? Or
No.
Nothing? Okay.
No, the only difference is the West Bend location just won't have the breakfast. We're still
Gotcha.
going to serve lunch, but the Hartford location is going to do breakfast and lunch.
Gotcha. Okay. So what are the challenges, being a small business owner, what are the challenges of opening up a second location? I see you smiling, David. I'm guessing there's some challenges.
Well, we answered this question last night, and we both kind of decided that after opening during COVID and seeing just about every challenge there was out there,
Mhm.
there's not a lot of challenges that we can foresee coming up that could really affect us that we think are challenging,
Sure.
other than just staffing issues and just being in a new location.
Yeah. So just the challenges of opening any business, right?
Correct.
So I suppose when you've gone through some of the hard stuff, it seems like a kind of a weight off the shoulders, maybe. When is that location going to open in Hartford?
We're hoping to be open in April of
In April. Okay.
2023.
Great. And so are you hiring people already right now, or are you just kind of, I suppose it might be a little bit far out to...
We haven't started yet,
Okay.
But we've had some people reach out, and they can either reach out to us on Facebook or email at info@soupkorner.com. We will be starting the hiring process probably end of January.
And then I assume you'll be looking for all sorts of positions,
Mhm.
people cook and servers, things like that.
Mhm.
What are your hours at the West Bend Soup Korner location?
The West Bend location is open 11 to 3, Monday through Friday, except on Thursdays we're open 11 to 7 p.m.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, we're closed on Saturdays and Sundays, and we'll probably never be open on a Sunday no matter what because we have families.
Yeah, no, good. And I'm actually really happy to hear that you guys are open late on Thursdays, because I always tell my wife that here at Epic, we had Soup Korner for lunch, and she gets jealous because she's a teacher in Lomira and can never have the food from there. So she's like, well, why don't you pick something up and bring it home? And I'm like, well, it'll be sitting around for a while by then. So now if you guys are open until 7 on Thursdays, I'll be able to make Mrs. Martin happy.
Yes, we had a lot of messages requesting that we open back up on Saturday, but it wasn't working out for our family with still having 5 children at home.
Mhm.
And, most of our staff are moms.
Sure.
And we all have families.
Mhm.
So it just works best to be open later on a weekday night versus a weekend.
How old are your kids?
So I have a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 15-year-old, almost 14, 12, 11, and 8.
Okay, very good. I've got a 18-year-old and a 7-year-old, so I got the
That's
span.
quite the gap.
Yeah, I've got the gap, but I don't have the frequency in there.
Yep. 2 are adults and 5 of them are still at home.
All right. Well, kudos to both of you for opening 2 businesses while you have kids in the house. I know that just being, parenting itself is a full-time job, and running a business is more than a full-time job.
Yes.
So.
The 5 of them are all involved
Oh, really?
at the restaurants. Yep.
Oh, excellent. Put them to work. That's great. we're looking forward to Soup Korner in Hartford opening at the old George Webb location in April, and looking forward to getting lunch at Soup Korner this coming week. But congratulations on the new news.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on 15 Minutes with Fuzz.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again to Renee and David Paape for joining me on this week's 15 Minutes with Fuzz. I hope you have a great Christmas break, and I'll be back in January. I'm going to take next Tuesday off. Merry Christmas to me. If you'd like to sponsor this show in the new year, you can email me 15withfuzz@gmail.com. That's 15 spelled out with fuzz at gmail.com. 15withfuzz@gmail.com. Release new episodes on Tuesdays. And while you're listening right now, click the follow button in your podcast player, and you can set it to notify you when new episodes of 15 Minutes with Fuzz come out. All right, thanks. We'll talk to you real soon right here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Have a great Christmas.